We are so excited to welcome back one of our absolute favorites, Dr. Daniel Cunnama, science engagement astronomer, to take us inside NASA's Artemis missions, set to return humanity to the moon this year. Yep, it is happening. It's been far too long in my mind, with Artemis 3 aiming for the moon's south pole, a mysterious region rich with potential resources. The doc is going to explain why this mission is a game changer for future lunar exploration and why we need it kind of to get to Mars, as I understand it. Dan, so good to see you, my friend.
You too, man. Thanks for having me.
You live and work in the most exciting space. Let's be honest now, it's all kicking off. It's all happening, buddy. It is all happening. This is a big deal. I mean, it's difficult to know what lens to look through. Just landing on the moon is a big deal because it's been so long. And it begs the question, why has it been so long since we've attempted this? But landing on the moon's south pole, why is this such a standout factor here?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. I mean, it's been a very long time, since the 60s, when we last landed on the moon, or early 70s. The South Pole is the target this time because, as you say, this is a plan for the future. We're going to go back to the moon this time, for real. And this time we're planning to stay and then use that as a lunar base, which we can then, leapfrog to Mars and further afield.
Because there's no hectic gravity from the moon, or not quite the same
well,
as...
no.
Yeah.
And then, so that's why we want to look for these resources. So we want to be able to land craft there, refuel them, have semi-permanent lunar bases, and one of the main things we need is water.
I was going to say, when you talk about resources, we obviously need hydrogen for fuel, yes?
Yes, absolutely. So water is an excellent resource for us. We need it just to survive, but then we can also split it to make hydrogen, oxygen, and use it for fuel. So the South Pole is where we suspect most of the water on the moon will reside, and that's why we're going there.
So let's talk about Apollo, with the computing power of a pocket calculator.
Yeah.
Did this. How different is it going to be this time? Talk to me about the technology coming to bear in this particular exercise.
Yeah, as we know, and I mean, we were talking about it a little bit earlier, the advances in technology are just immense.
Yeah.
And this time we get to do that and apply that to space. So, this is the absolute forefront of technology. We have the best of the best. We're sending it to space, and we've got to test it all out. And that's why this Artemis program is phased in the way it is. We're testing out these technologies, new ways to navigate in space. There was no GPS in the 70s. Now we use GPS on Earth, but GPS is useless in space.
And we've got AI to compute things for us while we focus on whatever, sipping our morning tea as we look over the horizon of the moon. I mean, come on. All the technology, yes, that needs to be tested, but we're entering into new territory with the people as well. And I suppose we've gotten used to the idea of an astronaut being in the International Space Station for a prolonged stretch of time. We kind of forget about them out there. But this kind of feels like there's going to be a community moving into space. Now, we're going to see people living on the moon. Surely that's going to happen now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's not just the Americans there, the rest of the world is now getting involved. We're having a diverse selection of astronauts from different backgrounds. They aren't just all fighter pilots anymore. So we're getting new ideas, new expertise. We're sending these people up into space, and we're testing the limits of humanity and technology, as we said.
Yeah, and what an opportunity for those people. So let's talk about those people. Who out of the group that are going to be taking this bold new step, this brave new, I don't want to say first step, but next big step for humanity? Who stands out in the astronauts who are going to be doing this?
Yeah, we'll be sending the first woman, right?
Brilliant.
The first woman to the moon is absolutely incredible. And, it's not just, as I said, diversity of thought and experience, but it's inspirational. The lunar landings in the 70s were inspirational to an entire generation, and now we have the opportunity to do that again, and inspire another generation of young people to explore and be part of this.
And with a level of engagement that was never available now. So there'll be live streams, there'll be probably the opportunity to speak directly to these astronauts. It feels like things will never be the same again. And you want that. If you're going to invest this much time, if you're going to focus so much intellectual might into something, you want to see that kind of shift. What's next from here? When you let your little scientific mind start getting excited about what this actually means in your space, what do you see as the kind of near future after this?
Yeah, well, Mars is the obvious one. I mean, everyone's been talking about Mars for some time, and maybe by the end of the decade, we'll see people on Mars. I think that the rate of technology, like, is so fast these days. You know, we see it with AI, we see it with everything else. The rate of progress is massive, and once we develop these tools, this technology that can do something like land on the moon, we can apply that wherever we like. So now we can go to Mars, and then we can dream, like you say. And where can we go from here? Let's dream and apply.
If my kid comes to me and says, "Dad, I'm thinking of working off planet," I'm going to blame you, and I'm going to come for you, man. I'm going to come for you. No, if he wants to, I hope that generation understands the gift that's been given on the back of those often very unsung heroes within the scientific fold that have taken humanity to the point that we have now earned the right to go back to the moon. Absolutely incredible. How do we track their progress? How do we stay connected? Are there dates set at this point? Talk me through the logistics.
So at the moment, the next mission to the moon, which is Artemis 2, won't be landing on the moon. That's scheduled for September this year. And that'll be flying around the moon. So this will be the first time we're sending people out of the Earth's orbit again for a long time. We'll be sending them around the moon. We'll be testing navigation. We'll be testing the craft, you know, and then, you know, obviously getting back safely. Once that's sorted, and we're happy with how all that's working, then we can try the landing. So that's going to be Artemis 3. So, you know, I think that probably in the next couple of years, there are often delays with these sorts of things, but by
Safety
the end of
first,
this year, we want to send humans to the other side of the moon again.
The dark side of the moon. How many conspiracy theories will be proven or dispelled in one foul swoop? Absolutely love the fact that in a very polarized world right now, this gives us one notion, one thing to focus on, and it's all of us. It belongs to all of us, the moon, man. No one can stake claim to that yet. Just wait for the commercial banners to come out. Doc, thank you so much for being our plug-in. I think this is the most incredible time to be alive. We're going back to the moon, baby. Come on.